जिस तरह से हशर हुआ है 2022 में, मैं कहूंगा कि 22 has been the worst year for the Hindi film industry. It's been a lineup of hits in the recent times, and I think Achhe Din are back, and Jawan is like the Sone Pe Suhaga.
It's absolutely insane to think the timeline in which the circumstances of an industry can rapidly change. Imagine the entertainment industry having to evolve with the pandemic, where many of the theatrical releases shifted to streaming and one envisioned for the big screen experience either to be a distant dream or too much of an inconvenience for viewers, to a scenario where week in and week out audiences are going back to the theatre to watch the next Hindi film release. So much so that the industry has had consecutive hits for more than 2 months. Something that one equated to Bollywood only in the 80s. Many people 2 years ago stated that the shift of the audience viewing and the anger that one has towards its practices will be the death of Bollywood. And when one stated on this very channel that this is only momentary, one equated you to be the PR of the big forces in the industry. Even the myths surrounding the fact that the audience will only invest in one movie per month have been shattered, as the commercial films this year have actually influenced viewers to buy tickets week in and week out. Consumer behavior that has influenced exhibitors and distributors to invest in revamping otherwise obsolete theatres too, so that it can capitalize on the wave taking place currently. Through this video, I wanted to assess the assumptions that existed just a few years ago and why certain films this year have hit it out of the park financially. And you also do chime in on why Hindi cinema is having a dream run from a box office point of view in 2023. The most unpredictable and rather depressing year for Hindi cinema was 2022, when no one could really identify a dead cert, meaning a film that is destined to do great numbers. Other than Brahmastra, which was the highest grossing Hindi film of 2022, it was remakes and sequels like Drishyam 2 and Bhool Bhulaiya 2 respectively that were raking in great numbers. And star-led films like Vikram Vedha, Lal Singh Chadda and Ram Setu failed to make any impression. One really came to the conclusion that the dearth of original stories, the absence of star-led action films in Hindi and the dwindling crowd pool of stars all equated to the abysmal performance. What's also interesting regarding 2022, which many people do not acknowledge, is that the slate of releases also represented the last leg of movies that were approved before anyone envisioned the pandemic and identified the consumer behavior. It is only in 2023 where you are seeing a tonal shift in the kind of films that are getting produced and greenlit, also equating to stories that are more connected to the pulse of the audience. Versus at one point of time where audiences felt like Bollywood is completely out of touch with what India likes. 2023 actually started with the same sentiment, where other than Pathaan, which was a lightning in a bottle of a star returning after 4 years, a larger-than-life action film that boasted of some slick action set pieces, an exciting villain in the form of John Abraham, some solid cameos, and a connected universe that has people excited about the several possibilities in the future, nothing really worked in the first few months. You had disasters like Kutte, Shehzada and Selfie that made people assume that there has not been a drastic change in the fate of the industry, and one assumed the same problems will persist for Hindi cinema this year as well. With sleeper hits and average grossers like Tu Jhooti Main Makar and Mrs. Chatterjee vs. Norway, there was still some hope. But failure of star-led projects still persisted, with Ajay Devgan's Bhola and Salman Khan's awful Kisi Ka Bhai Kisi Ki Jaan, both failing financially. The final nail in the coffin with a big release terribly disappointing viewers was undoubtedly Adipurush, that deserved all the animosity and criticism that it was getting. But who knew that a small film like Zara Hatke Zara Bachke would be the early signs of the fate changing for Hindi cinema in 2023? At a time where one equates only for big star-led action films to do well in theatres, in came a movie that was originally slated to release digitally on Jio Cinema, that opted for a theatrical release due to the postponement of Jawan and garnered huge love from the family-going audience. While I personally did not really love the film, it gave a reminder to the audience of the movies they celebrated before the pandemic, where small town stories where the heart is in the right place often struck a chord with them rather than being dependent on stimulus and scale constantly. While one equates the return of investment of films like Kashmir Files and Kerala Story to be of the same scale, but the motivating factor to buy tickets is entirely different versus a film simply meant for entertainment, and the scale at which the movie garnered its success was truly eye-opening. I've only realized an actor like Vicky Kaushal just has an effortless quality in making even mediocre work come across as gold, an ability very few actors possess. Satyaprem Ki Katha, in my eyes, one of the best Hindi films from 2023, went on to do relatively good business, and I feel like it had to do with the great word of mouth regarding the topic explored in the film, and the performances of the two leads, of course. The film trended weaker, however, than Zara Hatke Zara Bachke, and many people equated to the lackluster music of the film, and what became set in stone this year was also the effective marketing of films and how music plays such a key role in especially garnering that first weekend audience in theatres. This is something that the much awaited Rocky Aur Rani Ki Prem Kahani also suffered from initially. A movie that was poorly marketed as everyone inadvertently drew parallels with Karan Johar's own filmography, something that is inevitable, especially if your films are often revisited for the impact that it has on viewers for several years. People dismiss the lack of chemistry between the leads. One could not fathom a Dharma hero looking like this, especially when there was no context to his character. The film looked opulent and it seemed like the heart was missing, and all of this led to the rather underwhelming start for the film. As the film struck a chord with most viewers, the favourable word of mouth worked exceptionally for the film. While performing well domestically, the movie actually did wonders in international markets, owing to actually the goodwill Karan Johar developed with the NRI audience for more than 2 decades, and it having legs just for being more than a frivolous love story. The real blast, however, came in the following month. While everyone did think that nostalgia will play a key role in the success of Gadar 2, no one really envisioned it to be one of the biggest hits in Hindi cinema history, marking the return of Sunny Deol, an actor off his game for quite some time but cementing his position as the mass action hero one always knew him as. The film did wonders in the BNC centres and was marketed perfectly as the blend of that single screen experience, the vintage shouting Sunny Deol we all identify with, and the trope of India versus Pakistan that always seems to strike a chord with the masses. The film, while transitioning to become totally ludicrous and a machinery to relaunch Utkarsh Sharma, still has legs even today, telling you exactly why nostalgia, if done with continuity, can really hit the ground running like no other project. Oh My God 2 and its ability to deal with the Gadar 2 wave was also a case of how word of mouth can really safeguard a film made with the right intention. And while many people may believe that only star-led mass action films may be the flavor, I love that Hindi cinema has a range of success stories in different genres this year, indicative of a patronage for a variety of films versus producers feeling compelled to only offer one type of story. Easily one of my favorite films of 2023, Oh My God 2 did wonders, and then certain things slightly perplexed me, that even a nauseatingly irritating film like Dream Girl 2 and basically an offshoot of Kapil Sharma deleted scenes can also do wonders financially. While I was proud of Ayushmann finally getting a hit, the film was exceptionally tough to sit through, but each to their own. If it's the kind of entertainment that clicks, then who am I to point fingers? I just hope it doesn't commence a slippery slope for Mr. ROI, who may wonder that this is the only way he can taste success in the current market. With Jawan absolutely blowing it out of the park financially and SRK having a return for the ages that no one envisioned, it really has been a monumental year for Hindi cinema financially, and what's crazy is that there is still more to come. Will movies like Tiger 3, Animal and Donkey be more additions to this dream run? I guess we will have to wait and see, but I can clearly tell that there hasn't been such an exciting time for years in Hindi cinema, where there is such an active discussion of the film's quality and its performances week in and week out. It really is a good time to be a cinema enthusiast, especially when one looks at the last few years where it genuinely seemed like the dark ages. And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you equate to the performances of many films in Hindi cinema this year. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handle is right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.